Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Claw and the King podcast. I am Ollie. I'm joined by my co-host, Dopey. Big week of sport that's just gone. I thought we'd do a bit of a later one this week. Has nothing to do with my night out 2 days ago that, has prolonged the scheduling of this podcast. Nothing to do with that. I thought, you know what? Let's switch it up. Let's have a podcast when, all the games have been played. There's so much to talk about. We're not sort of predicting. We're more analysing.
Exactly.
We are big brains.
Let's allow me to sort of change my whole week around this and not work to the prescribed plan on the weekend, and I can drive an hour after work to come here, and that's all well and good.
That's the main thing.
As long as you had a good time on the weekend, that's the most important thing.
That is the most important thing. Thank you. I agree.
And your mates are always there to pick you up when you're down.
Because look, this guy here, the most forgiving guy you'll ever meet. He is just Mr. Forgiving.
That's what they call
loves
me.
a night out, so he loves to forgive, and he can really understand it. So, essentially, sorry for the late scheduling, but it's good. We can analyse a couple of the games, a couple of the fights that have gone on since we've been on the podcast. Obviously, the big Sphere event for the UFC, so Oscar's alley. But yeah, do you want to kick us off with something that you're sort of interested in? Do you want to start with footy or?
Yeah, we can start with footy. I guess in Australia, the main thing that everyone's on about at the moment, finals footy in the NRL. We've now had 2 weeks of finals. I think the last episode was before any finals had started. So we're down to the final four, the prelim teams. It is the top 4 teams in the regular season. Pretty much anyone with a brain could have predicted that was how it was going to go down. But anyway, here we are. It's actually crazy. It's impossible to win a competition outside the top 4. Because it turns out the teams that finish in the top 4 are actually the best 4 teams.
Wow. And they also get the biggest advantage in the finals. So it's pretty sort of smooth sailing.
Yeah. But anyway, Manly, absolutely horrendous performance. I mean, you can say the Roosters played well, but Manly sucked. They were an embarrassment. The Dogs would have had a way better showing. But anyway, and the Cowboys, they also sucked. Losing to the Sharks in finals is a sinful offence.
Yeah, look, I'm going to be brutally honest. I did not watch the Sharks-Cowboys game. I have no interest in watching that game. That game is as useless as anything. So yeah, I did not watch that game. However, I did watch obviously the Roosters, as a Roosters fan, did watch the Roosters Manly game. Now, you say that Manly were not great. They weren't that great. I thought, especially from a tackling standpoint and defensive standpoint, they weren't great. Obviously, the first 2 plays of the game hinder them massively. When you get 2 of your best players as well, off with head knocks, it's not the easiest to recover from a momentum standpoint. But I felt like the performance was a lot better than the one that I saw a week prior. Obviously, the Penrith game. I think the main thing for the team was the atmosphere change. I think when you go up to that
lovely place.
When you go up to that lovely place, aka the Penrith Shed, it's a really tough environment to play. It's just the atmosphere, the crowd. It's like you're back in under 8s playing at your local footy ground, but it's got stands. It's that level. It's just a different.
It's like you're in under 8s, except you're playing against the private school,
that's the weird thing.
Imported.
I think that's why everyone loses there. Because they look at the ground, they're like, oh, this team must be bad. Like this team, if you play at this as your home ground, this team must be bad.
And it's all the Karen parents on the sidelines screaming at their kids.
And then you rock up, and then you see these 6'5" blokes who are absolutely built like a ton of bricks, and they play such liquid footy. So it's pretty hard to compete with that, really. The juxtaposition of both the ground and the players. But anyway, moving on from that sort of fixture, the game itself, I thought the Roosters looked a lot more smooth. I thought Sanders Smith looked really good, which is obviously a positive heading in. And he kicked more, and I think that was something that I was a bit unhappy with the Penrith game. Was it felt like Luke Keary was doing all the long kicking, and to be honest, it didn't all go to plan. I think Dylan Edwards cut off a lot of the long range kicking.
Best fullback in the comp,
which is what he does and what his specialty is. And yeah, his ability to sort of make sort of those long range kicks turn into attacking sets for Penrith and being able to make an attacking kick. And when you have Nathan Cleary there, he was just a master at sort of being at, creating chances off those small kicks. So it was tough from the Roosters' perspective, and we didn't help ourselves with sort of the knock-ons and all that jazz, but and some performance from a certain individual that does not wear either team's colours. That did not help as well, especially a really big call. But anyway, on the Manly game, did you watch it? Did you have any sort of positive things to say about the Roosters, even though that is not your forte?
They played decently. Obviously, Jared gives them a boost when he's in the team. I don't think he's got himself suspended, touch wood, so he should be available for the next week.
Yeah, it could have been. It would not have shocked me if he was put on report for that. But look, he's got away with it.
He's got away with it, so he gets one more game in the career. It's very. The Roosters are trying to emulate Penrith, essentially doing a last dance every year, with half their team leaving at the end of the year. So they're trying to get everyone the win. They did play well. Tedesco was obviously the standout. Had a great game. Shut up a lot of the naysayers who say he's washed up. I'm not one of them.
Okay,
I think he's out. I think he's out of his prime, but he's still very good. Who else? Keary was. Sandon Smith was better. He was terrible against Penrith. I mean, I was like, wow, this guy.
I don't think he was he obviously the foot out of bounds thing, but I don't.
He was kicking it dead. He was kicking it out on the full. He was getting smashed on last.
It's like, what do you expect in that situation? I just felt like it was one of them. Like once we made all those mistakes early on, I just felt like a player like him who's not like a big, strong guy, he's not going to, make his mark physically. It's going to be a tough game for
but
him.
he played badly.
Yeah.
And I mean, sure, you can say he was thrust into it. He's only played 8 games or whatever it is. I mean, sure, that's fair enough. But at the end of the day, he's there in a finals game and you either have to deliver or you don't. So there's no room for, I don't know what the word is,
error.
but
Room for error.
No room for error in the finals, They could have put Manu there, but they obviously thought he was the guy. So, going forward, they're obviously playing Melbourne, a very tough ask. Melbourne have looked very good. I don't even know the last time they lost a game, but
we were 20 seconds away from beating them last year, though, and we had.
You weren't, and then Will Warbrick.
Yeah, famously. And look, we had
season
way more injuries last year, so maybe we can do it again this year.
But Melbourne are way better this year.
Yes, that is the worrying thing. Melbourne are a lot better this year. It's going to be a tough one. I think, playing at Penrith, I think it's a lot tougher than playing at Melbourne, personally. I think Melbourne are great at Melbourne, and they're definitely the top 2 sides of the comp at their home ground, probably. But I do think there is a pretty significant gap between Penrith and Melbourne. It's just...
Wow, that's convenient.
But I know it's convenient, but if you gave me the choice... Now, obviously, if we would have beaten Penrith, the sort of the way through to the grand final would have been a lot easier. I would much rather play the Sharks than either have been Melbourne or Penrith, let's be honest. But no, I do think that Melbourne, we have had competitive games there. Now, we did get smoked there. I wouldn't say smoked, but we got pretty soundly beaten early on in the season there. It's a tough team to play, it is. But obviously, you've got to have faith in your team heading into finals.
You're in trouble when your only point of difference is you got to have faith in your team.
No, but we are the underdog. We have our key players are injured. Two of I was going to say 3, but Victor obviously played on the weekend. But 2 of our key players are injured. And it's tough. And you're playing the most consistent team in the NRL for the past 20 years. It's a tough one. But I still think that we can do it an upset. And I will have faith. I will have faith.
Look, it's not outside the realm of possibility. And Melbourne are in a position where they've looked so dominant that they could come out and just... It's hard to say they could be complacent because Craig Bellamy's the last guy to let a team get complacent. But they've had the week off. Potentially they come out a bit slow. That's always the risk with the week off is the other team that's played week to week has a bit more game intensity and they come out and get you with a jump. But the forwards is where the Roosters have to win. The spine of Melbourne is absolutely untouchable. So Jared has to have a massive game. Spencer has not been great post-Origin, to be honest. So he's going to have to step up.
That's harsh.
Well,
that is really harsh.
Really?
Yes.
He's not been as good as he was.
I don't think that.
Especially the last 2 weeks.
I thought he was great against Manly. I thought he was really, really solid.
He was okay, but
I think I don't know. I personally think him off the bench is still an elite option. So I don't think I just don't think it's form based with him. I think it's more that when he starts
PPC.
When he starts and plays heavy minutes, he isn't as effective as he is when he comes off the bench. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
I disagree
with the game against Penrith, right? He played Spencer off the bench, and that was an error in judgment because you didn't have the starting front row to compete with Penrith's starting front row, so the game was lost by the time he got on the field. With Jared in the team, you can probably do that, but without Jared, yeah, he has to start. So, yeah, I don't know. I think you get pumped.
You think we get pumped?
Well, you disagree with the spine?
I disagree. I disagree with the spine thing.
They are all the best players in their position in the comp, except for Pappenhausen.
You think that their centers? I think our centers are probably.
A center's not in a spine?
Oh, I'm talking about backline.
Okay, well, that's a completely different thing.
All right, spine. I think Tedesco's better than Pappenhausen.
Yeah, I said Grant, Munster, and Hughes.
Well, you didn't say that.
I just
initially.
said.
I know, but when I was interjecting, I said.
Well, you were talking about centers.
Yeah, but I centers, they're part of the spine nowadays.
No.
They're heavily involved.
Yeah, centers, okay.
If you look at
centers is Roosters' strengths. Wingers, Melbourne are stacked. Warbrick and Coates.
Yeah.
Dong Young, I'm so sorry, is the most overrated player in the comp.
But he can score tries.
Do you see the tries he scores? I could score them.
No, you couldn't.
Half of them I could.
No.
He's untouched.
Yeah, because that's his pace.
His pace.
He's
2 meters away from the line when he catches the ball.
No, it's acceleration.
Do you see that Manu try? That was tough for him to put down.
No, but I think Tupou is heavily under. He was unreal against Manly, I thought. I think, look, he made some mistakes in that Penrith game, but I think he's still like one of the... I knew Hayes because he played Origin over Addo-Carr back in the day, but
Tupou's good. I'm taking Coates over him, though.
I think it's closer than you're making it out to be. Now, obviously, the 6 and 7 is the key difference, and that's where you're getting at with the spine comment. And I do think, obviously, Jerome Hughes is the form halfback in the comp, and Cameron Munster is an elite special game player. But I do think Sandin looked really good, and I think Luke Keary has an ability to link up with those guys close to the line. And look, I think the main thing for me, it's not even attack versus attack. I think it's just defensively. How are we going to stop those guys? And it's probably been our downfall this season, I think. Obviously, we've scored the most points in the competition this season, so our point scoring isn't really the problem. It's more defensively, especially against the top teams early on. I feel like, obviously, it's compounded by mistakes, but I feel like defensively in previous, sort of premiership years, and even last year, I felt like when we played the Sharks away, and that valiant sort of performance that we had, where I think we beat them 12-10 or something. And then the Melbourne game, obviously, was a great defensive performance. So I do think this team is a bit different. It's more offensive based than defensive based, and I don't love that against this Melbourne team. But yeah, it's going to be tough to stop Hughes and Munster. It just is, and you're going to have to deal with it. And I don't know how. Obviously, Luke Keary and Sandin aren't the biggest guys in the world, but athletically, Sandin probably could keep up with Jerome. It's just I'm not too sure if we're physical enough.
He's a target defensively for sure. They're going to have Nelson running at him, Eli Katoa, all these guys. But yeah, and the Roosters just have some sort of addiction to only picking halfbacks below 5'9".
Oh, come on, that's not true. That's just because they're talented.
They're talented.
It's just that they're not the cookie cutter, Nathan Cleary, boring, let's pass it out mold,
No, just like someone with a bit of size would be good in the NRL.
We had Drew Hodgkinson. What are you talking about? We had the mighty Drew last year.
Drew.
Or 2 years ago.
Yeah, and you played him at centre.
Yeah, because we had all of our centres were injured. This is our main problem throughout the past couple of years. It's been injuries. So it's
cursed.
It's not cursed. We won 2 premierships. We've won 3 premierships in the last 10 years.
Post that. 11 years. It's karma.
Yeah.
Salary cap cheating equals injuries for the rest of eternity.
I don't think it's salary cap cheating because if you look at it, we've lost all of our good players. So
yeah, and then you replace them with more good players.
through the academy.
The academy.
Yeah.
The academy of money.
The academy. Victor Radley, academy.
Academy.
Yeah, he's an academy player.
Okay. And now he's on like 800K.
No, he's not.
He's on a
Sandon
lot.
Smith, academy. Central Coast Academy, but still.
Spencer Lenu. Academy.
Yeah, okay, but we bought him for like 600. We didn't. We just gave him a bump for like next year in the
Dom
draft.
Young.
But look at all the players that have left. Like Latrell, you forget. Like look at the Premiership team. Latrell left. Like he was a big part of that. I mean,
but he was not on big money when he was with you.
Oh, he was towards the end.
Not.
And then Cooper Cronk signed him, but he left. He was on $1 million, so that money freed up. I mean, Jake Frank. Remember all the players that you fucking harped on about that retired because of head concussions.
Yeah,
they were all on fucking shit done as well. So it's like
they were, and they're still at the club.
And look at all the players leaving. Manu, $1 million a year, he's gone. Jared, probably 700-800, he's gone. Like it's like a lot of good players. Have
yeah,
gone. Like
and by the next season start date, you're gonna have some new players in there.
No,
Addo Carr's
not,
going.
like
Campbell Gillard probably is gonna rock up.
No, but it's like we're not. It's just because other clubs like the Eels, when they lose players, they like replace them with fucking Bryce Cartwright, and it's like plain and obvious that they've lost players. The thing with the Roosters is we lose a player, but then we replace them ahead of time once we know we're losing them. So it's just big brain.
Yeah, it's also a bit of cheating, but
it's not. Anyway, Sharks Penrith.
Sharks Penrith.
Is there any chance that Sharks get up here?
I'm going to have to say 0. As a non-biased consumer of this game, I'm going to have to say 0
They
chance.
have shocked you in the past, though. They have done a number on you.
But
and the that's the thing with the Roosters. They're used to playing at Allianz. They're used to playing at the creme de la creme of, stadiums in Sydney. Sharks are used to playing at fucking Shark Park.
Yeah, but we're not playing in Penrith.
Where are you playing?
Accor.
Oh, okay,
so they're not used to more than 5,000 people watching their games.
Did you see that? Actually, that was
it was embarrassing.
Was so
a quarter of the stadium was filled.
And I get, look, it's tough. It's probably the worst matchup possible if you want to get fans to a game, because obviously North Queensland do not travel well at all because they're in North Queensland. So can't blame them. Sharks fans are about a mile away from Allianz anyway, so it's tough. I get that. But to see that many empty seats for a fucking semi-final is criminal. That is...
Yeah. And that is the one thing that the AFL has got so much better than the NRL.
I don't even think it's that. I just think, like...
Well, they show up more, so...
I just think there's small market teams. There just is. And the Cronulla Sharks and North Queensland are the two smallest markets in the NRL. And that's just how it...
The Raiders...
No, but they have a whole city, and
yeah, but it's a small city.
And what else is there to do in Canberra? So my thing with it is just you look at that, and you look at the Manly Roosters game, packed out, sold out.
Yeah, but it is Roosters' home ground.
I know, but like that's what it would be if it was a Brisbane Souths final or a semi-final.
Yeah,
it would be
that's a huge game though. Yeah, it is two small market teams. And it was like disappointing to see, but anyway, nothing can be done about it now.
And the Roosters would get more if the Tigers rocked up on a Thursday night, and that's just embarrassing.
Yeah, probably.
They should have played it at Shark Park. Like I get it. Usually, if it was Sharks versus Roosters or Sharks versus Souths or Sharks versus I don't know whoever, Parramatta, I get having it there. But if it's Sharks versus North Queensland. You've got to just have it at fucking Shark Park.
But they can't just change the rule for one team for 1 week.
I think it should be flexible.
Because then...
I think it should. If they're making spot-on judgment calls about certain stadiums in finals, about, Sharks are too small, but this club's is big enough. If they're making those judgment calls, I think it should be fluid. And they should be able to make these... Hang on. This stadium's going to be fucking empty with Shark... No matter what do you see the G-Train ad?
Apparently there was a strike, a public transport strike.
Yeah, that's the reason why I didn't come. Yeah.
Anyway, and then on the I can't remember if it was the game after or whatever, but I just heard Joey on commentary going, what happened with all the Sharks fans? They didn't get out to Allianz last week. He's like, come on, Sharks fans, you got to get out to Accor next week. Your team's going to need you. And it's like...
It's not happening. That's going to be another bad one as well.
Don't worry, there will be 30,000 Penrith fans. 10,000 Sharks fans.
I think it'll be bad again, though. Honestly, it will be bad. Like, it won't be... Obviously, it's tough. It'll be a tougher look because a call makes everything look small unless you've got 50,000 in there. But there's going to be a lot of empty seats. Like, the game will go nowhere near to a sellout. Why don't they do that
Dogs
game at
Manly
a call?
had 50.
Why don't they do that game at a call?
What game?
Penrith Sharks. Like
They are.
No, not at a call. At Allianz.
Because Penrith has no like allegiance with Allianz, so they just take it to a core.
Do they have an allegiance with a core?
No, but that's the main NRL ground when you don't have a...
Well, why is the Sharks don't have any allegiance to Allianz?
Fuck, I don't know. No, because the Bledisloe was on, so...
Okay, that makes more sense. But could you so if the Bledisloe wasn't on, would the Sharks...
maybe, I don't know.
That would have been... it would have been like the South games late in the year. Jesus. Wow. That would have been even worse. Anyway, moving on from footy.
Well, we didn't actually talk about the game.
Okay, yeah. What do you think about it? I just...
Penrith Sharks.
No, you did. I didn't.
Well, I said they have zero chance of winning.
Yeah, okay. What do you think? Is there a chance now that we're at, obviously, a call, do you think the Sharks can do an upset? It will be a neutral ground, kind of.
Neutral ground, but it won't feel neutral because they have no fans. Yeah, it'll be tough. Obviously, it's good for the Sharks that they've made it this far. Nicho Hynes has finally won a finals game, even though he was the beta of the halves pairings. He got carried by Trindle, but he won the game, so good on him. But yeah, I can't see them winning. The Sharks do have a good team. When I was looking through their roster, I was like, wow, they actually have good players in every position. But there's just something about finals footy in Penrith that is unbeatable.
God, shut up, mate.
When you look at us being vulnerable, allegedly, during the regular season, we get to finals and we're just unstoppable again. Cleary is beyond a cheat code. It's pretty much impossible to lose if he's playing in your team.
Yeah, I think it's actually going to be an interesting one because the Sharks are almost set up like you. Obviously, they don't have the class. Now, Nicho Hynes was supposed to be the class. He hasn't probably been the class this season. That obviously Penrith have with Nathan Cleary and Jerome Luai, but I think with how they like to use their backs as well, and their wingers especially, it's very similar to Penrith. I just think it's a bit... Penrith, I feel, always have trouble with teams that play a similar style to them. Like, obviously, we watched the Raiders-Penrith game late in the season together. It felt like both teams were playing to the same level, and they were playing the same game. And if a team can somehow, and it's hard, if a team can somehow find a way to sort of out-tough Penrith and play the game their way,
yeah,
they can drag them into a slugging match where it's, 14-12 with 5 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, but that's been the blueprint for 5 years, and no one's been able to do it.
And that's why, to be fair, you have success against the Roosters.
Yes. Yeah, and, dragging us into that slug match where it's like, 2-point game with 5 minutes to go, that's where we thrive. Because no one has the composure of us. Like, the grand final last year, Brisbane had it. That's where you want to be, up 6 points with 5 minutes to go, up 12 points with 10 minutes to go, whatever it is. But they lose their composure. And the Sharks just reek of a team that has no composure in the tight games. We've seen their late game execution all year has been poor, really. I mean, Nicho Hynes probably missed 50 field goals throughout the season, but yeah, so I don't. If the game is close, I don't think they can win. So their only chance is to blow us out.
Yeah. Well, look, you got the perfect draw. Obviously, you didn't want to be playing Melbourne in Melbourne. In terms of having to go to that for the prelim. But again, if you lose this game, it'd be probably the most embarrassing. Like, at least if you go to Melbourne and lose, you're like, fuck, okay. I'd hope we'd win, but if we were going to lose to anyone, we're going to lose to them. If you lose to the Sharks...
It would be embarrassing, but it's just,
I mean, you've won so much.
You would have said that last year when... Who did we have in the prelim? It was the Warriors?
Might have been.
Who was the other team in the top four?
I think it was the Warriors. Yeah. I remember you... I think it was the Warriors. The Warriors were in the top four. I don't know. I think they won.
And there was one other team. I don't know how I'm forgetting this, but Anyway, let's just say it was the Warriors.
Brisbane.
No, Brisbane was in the grand final.
Yeah, but Melbourne was.
Melbourne, yes. And yeah, I think we played Melbourne week 1. I can't remember.
Anyway, we're just fucking.
Either way,
yapping
I'm
up.
saying when we played the Warriors last year, that would have been an embarrassing loss in the finals. But we pumped them. So
there you go.
it's a foolproof plan. Ivan
yeah.
Cleary is probably the GOAT. He dwarfs Robinson's career statistics at this point. Dwarfs Bellamy.
Does he?
Bennett's in his sights.
Does he? Look, he's had a great run. He has. He's had a great
Run.
with a.
This is 5 GFs in a row now. This is insane.
Well,
It's beyond a joke, really.
Not yet. Yeah. Look, it's a great team. It's a great dynasty. I think it's, in terms of a style of play, it's been highly successful. Now, is it the most enjoyable to watch? No.
It's beautiful.
No.
How's it not enjoyable? The Bash Bros smashing people all game long.
No, it's just
Cleary with the
it's
finesse.
Just fucking
Toto,
grind your opponent.
you don't
to
like
death
watching
and
Brian
then-
Toto just get into his work?
No. Look, it's a very tough team. It's a juggernaut. It's it seems like an insurmountable task. Now Melbourne this year probably been better overall, so maybe they can surmount the Panthers. But yeah, look, the problem with the NRL is it just seems like the two best teams play in the final every year. Now that's a good thing, maybe that you want the two best teams playing, but you also do want a bit of surprise some years. You don't want I mean, that's what happened in the NBA for a couple of years when it was just Cavs Warriors every time. But yeah, it's a bit tough to have sort of having that Melbourne Penrith always in the final. But yeah, hopefully the Roosters can upset Melbourne, and hopefully the Sharkies can upset. Can you imagine
That would suck. A Sharks Roosters grand final.
That wouldn't suck. Mate.
Wouldn't even sell out.
Shut up, mate.
It wouldn't.
What? The Sharks sold out a Melbourne Sharks final.
Yeah, but the Sharks were actually a formidable team then.
No, you're telling me? Come on, mate. The Roosters have fans. I don't think you.
Yeah,
Understand.
not 80,000.
Mate, if you don't think a grand final between the Sharks and Roosters doesn't sell out, you're off your head.
I don't know. Be touch and go.
You don't have that many fans. The Roosters have more fans than you.
Than Penrith.
Yes. Especially
Not now.
like
We have every casual fan in the game.
no, you don't.
Yeah, we do.
I think the Roosters.
Everyone
have more
that
casual
flicks
fans.
on the TV now just becomes a Penrith fan.
I think you have probably more diehard people that only care about rugby league and have 3 teeth. Absolutely, you've got that. You've got that in the bag. Tick.
That's Souths, mate.
I've been to Penrith, mate. I've seen it. Do you want to talk about Penrith? I mean, fucking hell. It's Krispy Kreme next to fucking Five Guys, next to Macca's,
KFC.
next to KFC. They're
don't
all like
they
industrial
have
complexes.
the only... Is it Five Guys? They have the only Five Guys in Sydney?
Probably.
It's one of those.
No, I did
or
see Five Guys.
Shake Shack or one of those
see
things.
Five Guys.
Yeah.
It's mental. The RSL is like a fucking
Yeah, it's
palace.
insane.
It is honestly a palace.
Good food, though.
Yeah, there's 30 restaurants in there. Mental place. But yeah, anyway, that's what I mean. It's essentially Penrith, all they care about is rugby league. Now, you probably have a good 20, 30,000 people that are just diehard Penrith. But I think in terms of
That's it.
that's how many people are in fucking Penrith, mate.
But what about all the ones that aren't in Penrith?
You don't have any fans outside of Penrith.
Hello?
Yeah, but that's just because some weird shit that you have going on with Matt Moylan. That's not a real, that's not a common theme. That's not everyone has a guy crush on Matt Moylan. But no, I think the Roosters absolutely have more casual fans. And that's obviously, you want
they do.
everyone to be hardcore, but they probably have a bit less hardcore, but then they have tens of thousands of people that are oh yeah, I like the Roosters. Or people that live in the East and just want to go to the finals.
And they rock up and go, oh, how's Mitch Pearce playing this year?
God, Todd Garney is good, isn't he? Yeah, look, I think the Roosters always sell out big games. That's just how it is.
That's just how it is.
That's how it is.
That's how it goes.
It's being the biggest club.
Well,
in the
they
NRL
need
gets
something
you.
to spend their money on, all those Bondi people.
That's what you have, mate. Money. But yeah, anyway, moving on from footy. Good chat ahead of finals next week. We can do a bit of other footy as well. Obviously, Swanee's getting to the final, playing Brisbane. A bit of a roller coaster sort of end of the season for the Swanee. Obviously, I'm not the biggest AFL guy.
Wow, is this going to be some educated takes on AFL?
But I am clued in. Now, that is me being a complete casual and just being yeah, let's ride the fucking wave. but no, they're a really solid team. I think. Obviously they started out really hot. Had a bit of a sort of a murky patch where they got absolutely bashed towards the end of the season. Then had a couple of good comebacks.
Who they get bashed by?
They got bashed by Port.
Nice.
They got bashed by someone else as well, and it was bad. It was like they
lost by 100
points
to Port.
Yeah, didn't Port have like 76 points to our like 3 or something?
No, they lost by 100.
I know, but like to start the game.
Oh yeah, probably something like that.
But yeah, it was yeah. So, but anyway, in the finals, had a great comeback, round 1, and then sort of moving on to last week with a better team throughout. And look, the main thing with the Swans over the past couple of weeks is their inability to start well. They're not a great starting team.
That's the whole season, really.
Yeah, and that's their thing. They've always come on strong at sort of the end points of the game, but they started really well, I felt, against Port. Obviously got to the lead early and never gave it up. So, yeah, the best team in the comp gets to the final. Now, Brisbane being in there is a bit of a shock.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure they were in the grand final last year.
They were.
So, is it a shock? Like, an AFL is different to NRL in this regard, where a team outside the top 4 can make a grand final and even win a competition. I remember in 2016 that it was the Swans versus the Western Bulldogs in the grand final, and I'm pretty sure the Western Bulldogs were the 6th seed, and they won the competition. So it
the flag, as they say,
the flag, whatever it is. But yeah, so it is more possible, I feel like, in the AFL to make a deep run in finals from a lower position. But the good teams do tend to make it as well. Obviously, the Swans finishing first. But yeah, they've looked really good all year. They started the season insane. They've pretty much got the same team from the grand final 2 years ago where they got pumped, but they're just so much better in 2 years. Like, every player's just matured.
Grown, yeah.
They got rid of Buddy, waste of space, and
you love Buddy though.
I do love him, but yeah, there's no denying they're better without him now. So yeah, they're doing really well. I mean, they're favourites. They should win.
Well,
So-
yeah, that's the thing. The main thing was playing Geelong in the final would have been an absolute fucking... It would have just been so tough because so many Geelong fans would be there, and playing a Melbourne team in Melbourne.
Yeah,
grand
so
final
there's
is a really
no
tough
Melbourne
thing.
team in the grand final, which is pretty...
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's all you care about, Melbourne, so that's embarrassing. Literally the only 2 places, Brisbane and Sydney, that care more about NRL.
Watch them all jump on the Storm this week.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to sell out for the first time in their history. No, I think it's an interesting one to have sort of a Brisbane, Sydney one. I think a lot of my mates that are the Swans fans were hoping for a Brisbane final because it's a lot better of a chance to win the game. Even though Brisbane have looked good, it is sort of a much easier task to play Brisbane in Melbourne for a grand final. But yeah, hopefully we don't get spanked like we did 2 years ago.
No, I think we'll be good. The Swans are essentially the Storm of the AFL. They're just pretty much good every single year.
I disagree. I think I'd say they're more the Roosters. No, but like they're not like serial winners. The Swans.
They're not serial winners, but they're
always around.
Serial
well, they're like the
finalists.
Roosters. They're always around. They've got the flashy team. They've got the good-looking team. They've got the money. It's the Roosters. It's clearly the Roosters.
I guess. But the
Like,
point I
they'll
was
win
trying
the
to
odd-
the
they'll
point I was
win
trying
the
to
odd
make
one.
is they're always good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Roosters.
and the main point of discussion, I think the Brownlow's actually on tonight, and Isaac Heaney, he's
Yeah.
like the Swans' best player.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, don't know if you
I've
clued into that.
I've got more
But
more
he,
than you, mate.
yeah, he can't win the Brownlow because he got a 1 week suspension
Which is the stupidest fucking
for a
thing.
tiny little shoulder charge or something, which is a bit bullshit.
Yeah. But
So-
he's unreal. He is.
You see that mark
Crazy.
he took?
Yeah, well, it's just he's always around the ball. Like, he never drops a ball. Like, it's weird in AFL. Like, in basketball, like, it feels like... And when I'm watching AFL, obviously, I'm a casual, so I don't notice little things like fucking, I don't know, disposals and shit like that. I don't know. I don't notice that shit, so I just watch the game. But in, like, basketball and football, you can tell when a player is having a bad game. Like, even the best players in the world can have a bad game. But, like, every time I watch Isaac Heaney play, he's fucking unreal. Like, he doesn't make a mistake. Like, he always catches it. He's always on point in terms of goal kicking. He's always tackling hard. It feels crazy that he's just sort of a class above at the moment. He's the next... Who was Dusty Martin.
The next Dusty Martin.
That's what they're saying.
I'd say they're very different styles of player, but
Do you? I think they're quite similar.
well, Dusty Martin's a shit kick.
No, he was a flashy kick.
That was a shit kick.
He was a flashy kick.
Dusty Martin is basically just like an NRL player playing AFL. Like, he was just really physical.
Yeah, but he was the best player in the league for like 5 years.
Yeah. But he wasn't really skillful like Heaney.
Oh, he was skillful.
Different class, different gravy. He wasn't taking hangers like that either.
You think Heaney's already ahead of Dusty Martin? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that he's a better player?
No. I think Dusty Martin's had a better career.
Okay. But if you're taking a player, you're taking Heaney over Martin.
It depends, because Dustin Martin was on
this is like
around
the
ball
first
more.
time we've ever had this chat, by the way. Like
Yeah.
AFL, like an actual...
I'd probably take Heaney.
Mm.
That's actually tough. No, I'd probably take Dustin Martin. That's a bit rogue, I think.
Yeah, I would say.
But they are.
I know nothing.
But they
I
are
think that's rogue.
different styles of player for sure. I don't know who's saying they're similar.
Well, no, I just feel like the dominance from a player,
I would say Chad Warner is closer to Dustin Martin.
just because of the hair and like.
No, because of the play style.
I don't know. I feel like
that is a fucking really good take I just made. AFL fans, let me know.
Yeah, shout out. Let us know in the comments about AFL comparisons. No, I just think he needs a different class. So, and obviously they've got a lot of good players. The odd man out that seemed a bit shit was the forward guy.
Grundy?
No.
McDonald?
No.
Amadi?
Yeah, Amadi. Amadi was just a bit...
He's a bit unco.
Yeah, he looks like... What does he look like? It's like Scott McTominay in the Man United team.
Yeah. But
it's like, what is he doing here?
But he scored the winner against GWS.
Yeah, but it was like, I could have done that. Like,
it's actually hard when it looks, but...
I know, it's hard as it is. But he was crap the entire game and then just, like, has... Obviously a clutch play. It is literally Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay just does nothing and then scores in the 96th minute.
Yeah, but AFL have those players where they're just there because they're a good frame and they can do some freakish things, but when it comes down to the actual... like Israel Folau played in the AFL. He can't kick a footy to save his life.
Athlete.
Huh?
He was a different athlete, though.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like they will just bring people over from the US that don't even know what the sport is, but give them a professional contract and throw them out there, and they're not good at the technical aspects of the game, but because they're an athletic build and they can do certain things, they can still play AFL.
Yeah.
Like Mason Cox, do you know him?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect example.
Yeah. I think he was a bit different though. I think like. In terms of athletic, like he obviously played basketball, but he wasn't like,
No, he's unathletic. He's just
yeah,
huge.
He's just huge, yeah. Anyway, moving on from the footies, did you want to sort of chat about a bit of football or a bit of UFC?
We can do a bit of football quickly. Obviously, everyone was talking about City Arsenal recently.
Big game this morning. Bit controversial, obviously with City... drawing to Arsenal, scored a late equaliser in the...
With 10 men?
No, Arsenal had 10 men.
10 men.
In the 97th minute. It was a bit of a controversial game with the send-off. I don't think the send-off was controversial. He was on a yellow, kicked the ball away, clearly to stop...
Who got sent?
Trossard. So, yeah, I think that was a clear red, second yellow and a red, so can't really complain about that. It was just petulant from him. So, yeah, I think... Look, the main sort of takeaway from it is, Arsenal were unlucky in the game.
But didn't City have like 90% possession?
In the second half, it was crazy. They set up, Arsenal were 2-1 up, and literally set up 8 at the back. It was crazy. But yeah, I think it was unlucky for Arsenal. Obviously, you're that close to closing out City at home. But I think it's a real sort of statement to the league that it is quite uneven. It's still Arsenal and Man City as the two best teams. I don't think any other team's close, really. But yeah, a solid game. A much better first half to watch than a second half. But yeah, obviously, the main goal scorer, Haaland, got his goal early. Thought it might be a bit embarrassing for Arsenal, but they managed to claw it back.
Is that his 100th goal?
Probably for this season. Yeah, he's on track, I think, for 70 goals this season.
He's scored 100 goals in 103 games for City, I saw.
Yeah. That's crazy.
He's literally going to beat... He's going to beat the Champions League record, Ronaldo's record.
Oh, he will?
In 5 years, probably.
Oh, I don't. It's tough. I mean, Ronaldo. Oh, that's
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo. I think that's a tough one. I don't think it could. It could just have like. It could definitely have the most goals in football history, like competitive goals. Like he could beat Ronaldo on that. Champions League. I think people forget how good Ronaldo was. Like he scored 15 goals in a Champions League season.
But what's Haaland on? He's got to be on like 40 already. So
no, he definitely has a chance. It's just I think that it's pretty tough to beat Ronaldo's Champions League, and I would say he could beat the Premier League record, but I just don't think he'll be at City for 10 years.
You think he's going to leave?
Yeah, I think he'll go to Madrid or Barcelona or.
He doesn't seem like that type of player.
I think he is. I think he'll.
I feel like he'd struggle in like a Barcelona system.
Oh no, I don't think he'd go to Barcelona. I'm just saying a big club like that. I think he'd go to Real Madrid. Absolutely. I think he's one of those players that wants to dominate world football. Like I just think he wants to score goals everywhere, and I don't think he's like, oh yes, I know his father played for Man City, but he's I just don't think he's that connected to Man City, and I think in a couple of years, and obviously they've got the charges coming down on them, so it's a bit interesting with that as well. But yeah, I do think Haaland probably will move on to Real Madrid when he's like 25, 26, and then dominate La Liga as well. Bold prediction, I know, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow. There you go. And
yeah, United doing well, yeah.
They drew the Crystal.
We actually played really well, and that's what hurts. It was a really good performance, especially first half. I thought first half we were unreal. Probably the best half we played all season. Everyone played well.
What about the 7-1?
Mate, that was against Barnsley.
Still.
No, I thought we played really well, and I thought Xerxes was unreal, and I couldn't believe he got subbed off second half. I couldn't believe it. He was the best player, I thought, on the pitch. He was creating chances for other players all the time. Bruno missed a couple that he should have scored. As per, yeah. And I just thought we played really, really well. I thought we defended. We just had an unbelievable defensive performance first half as well, and the whole game, to be fair. But Onana made some really big saves second half, especially. Yeah, it was just a disappointing one. It was one of those games that, I've seen us, win 3-0 in games that we probably had less chances and probably didn't dominate the game as much. That first half was what you want to see out of a Man United side, especially away from home in a tough place to play. Thought it was a really good performance, but yeah, look, we're not doing anything this season, so it's not the end of the world in terms of that. It's just, and it's good to see a good performance, at least for the first half, like I said. But yeah, hopefully we actually can do something in something. I don't know.
Is Højlund still injured?
No, he played. He came on.
He
came on. And that was the main problem. I think when subbed Rashford on, Rashford didn't start for Xerxes. And it was just, as soon as that happened, it was long ball central. They were just chucking the ball up long all the time again, which was really disappointing because I felt like when we had Xerxes on there, we were playing really good football, but it happens. It happens.
Yes. And I've seen Sancho's magically relearned how to play football.
Yeah. Yep. Shock. I don't know what it is with that guy. He just, what is he? What's with him? I don't get him. He just doesn't care. And people say it's Ten Hag. He was shit under Ollie as well. He was shocking. I don't know. I think he's honestly one of those players that needs to be coddled. And I think he probably just wasn't at Man United. And I think he is probably now. He doesn't train hard. He's overweight a lot of the time. But if you say, good job, mate, I think, yeah, you're looking good, mate. I think he's honestly a good player. He's very technical. He's not quick, but he's very technical. He can pass the ball really well. And he does have a finish in him. So, obviously, it's disappointing to see him do well other places. But, yeah, it is what it is. What can you do?
Yes.
But I like our winger options at United. I think I stand by the fact that we should have sold him anyway. I think you've got Ahmad, who's playing really well. Rashford, you're not going to get rid of him. And Garnacho. Anthony, yeah. He's just.
You see, he scored the penalty, right?
Yeah.
And he did 7 celebrations.
Yeah. Look.
He's got to be taking the piss now.
No. He's just, it's just crazy, that guy. I mean, the amount of, I feel bad for him.
The most memed player in history.
But, he was, starting for Brazil before he came for us. That's how good he was. But now he's just, I feel like every player, once they come to Man United and they realise that, oh, my career's taken a downturn, like Sancho. I think they just fucking just take the piss, really. And they're like, well, I'm on fucking 200 grand a week. Who gives a fuck? But no, it's obviously a bit disappointing for him. I don't think he started a game for the Premier League this season, but Ahmad's starting a lot, so I think he's talented, and Garnacho, hopefully he can get some more minutes as well.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Anything else going on?
Nothing really. I mean, Europa League is kicking off soon. I think this week. Champions League kicked off last week. So, yeah, United, obviously, Europa League because they won the FA Cup. So, I think that's probably our main goal, and it should be. I think we should be playing strong teams throughout it. It's obviously the new format with the...
Yeah, how does that work?
So, it's weird. It's like a draw. So, you play like 8 teams or whatever.
So, you just play
and then
8
it goes
teams
into
once.
a knockout, I think.
But you don't play everyone.
No.
So, how is that fair?
Well, you could argue that how it was before wasn't fair because it was in groups.
Yeah, but if you're a good team, you had a great opportunity to get out of the group.
Yeah, but you also, like, if you could have got shafted with a group, and you'd have like.
If you're a team and you have to play City, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Barcelona,
but it's not formatted like that. I think it's more random than that. Like United, they've got some. I think they've got like 2 tough ones and like semi-tough ones in the Europa League, and the rest are like sort of mid. So because of how it is, you're destined to get some easy games in there, no matter if it's Champions League.
Why is the format changed? What was
essentially
wrong with
the clubs after the thingamajig, the debacle with the friggin' when they tried to go in the Super League, they had negotiations with the Champions League to sort of change the format of it. So
right.
UEFA to have.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. See how it plays out.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be interesting to see. Anyway, moving on. UFC.
The Sphere, obviously, is the most recent card. I don't know how much you saw of it, but the spectacle looked pretty good.
It could have been better, though.
It could have been better. Well, the fights obviously sucked, but
but like, why weren't the fights on the big screen as well?
Well, they were.
Were they?
Not the entire
It
screen.
It should be. Why wasn't it?
Well, it's probably hard to make out what's happening if it's on a 500-meter screen.
Or like have of the crowd. Like I felt like all the pre sort of about Mexican heritage and all that jazz. Very good quality. But like but
I don't care about Mexican heritage.
The actual fights itself, it looked kind of bland.
Yeah, I do think most of the budget and energy and effort went into the Mexican stuff.
Wow. It's probably a big thing for Mexican people, but for in terms of you want pay-per-views, you want to sell this so you can do it again. I know Dana doesn't want to do it again, but you want to sell that you can do it again. You got to incorporate, the international fans. You got to sort of, because I would have no clue if it was Mexican Heritage Day or whatever, if it wasn't blasted over the screen a million times.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably could have done more for the in-fight experience, but some of the intros were pretty cool when they had the holographic O'Malley versus Merab thing with all the stats and stuff. But
for the walkouts, even they could have done something so cool with that and just made it their walkout song immersed with them and then have them on the big screen or incorporate the fight and the fighters more into the experience more than it's just like a fucking documentary about American heritage. Cool graphics, cool fucking animations, but you've got to incorporate the fighting element of it more. It was more like a fucking sort of play. I was at a school
museum
presentation.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, it happened. The fights itself, obviously, Valentina laid on Grasso for 5 rounds and won the belt back. So congrats to her. And then in the main event, Merab laid on O'Malley for 5 rounds and won the belt. So congrats to him. Good stuff there. There's actually been quite a bit of controversy around the fight being closer than what people thought. Some people are even saying O'Malley should have won the fight because it's meant to be that damage trumps control time in wrestling if you're not doing anything with it. So there's been a bit of backlash, but the majority of people think Merab won. But I think it's a bit of coping because everyone hates him because he's a gremlin and he shouldn't be there.
There's just too many gremlins as
the
UFC champions right now. That's the problem. We need to start a petition. It's just, I mean, what are the UFC champions right now? I mean, what is going on? Hang on. Can we go through divisions? All right, bantamweight. Who's the champion?
Flyweight.
Who's the champion?
Pantoja.
Bantamweight. Who's the champion?
Merab.
Featherweight. Who's the champion?
Tapuria.
Is it middleweight next?
Lightweight.
Who's the champion?
Islam.
Middleweight. Who's the champ?
Welterweight.
Welterweight. Who's the champ?
Bilal.
Oh. Middleweight. Who's the champ?
Middleweight's Drickus.
Like, he's okay, but again, a bit boring. Light heavyweight.
Pereira.
That's good. Heavyweight.
Jones.
So it's like there's two entertaining guys and one of them doesn't even fight. So it's kind of, what is it? What happened to my glorious UFC?
What happened
when Conor was champion? When friggin'
sad times.
When DC and John Jones were fighting. It's just, what happened?
I don't know. And they can't even have beef anymore. Like, at the press conference, Dana will be like, stop fighting, guys. We want to be pleasant these days. And the fucking media members are absolutely brain dead. They don't ask them the right questions. Yeah, they want to talk to the people that can't speak English and say, oh, what does it mean to fight on Mexican Independence Day? Shut the fuck up and ask O'Malley. Ask O'Malley what he doesn't like about Merab, okay? That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So the devastating sort of outcome for the UFC. Obviously, O'Malley would have been the desired winner. But yeah, in other news, Jones versus Stipe finally did get announced for November. Yeah. So, and Aspinall is the backup. The most useless backup probably in the history of backups, because if one of them pulls out, the other one's pulling out.
Yeah, there's no chance.
There's no chance.
Great, that's great.
So anyway, in November, this whole shebang, whatever it is, can be over with. They're both going to retire, so Aspinall's absolutely fucked. But
yeah,
they may as well get him in the ring with them after they announce the decision, put the belt around Jones, let him do his interview, take it off him and give it to Aspinall.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's what should happen, but it won't. I think Jones will be like, who wants me to fight Aspinall? yeah. Then just delay it for 3 years and then just retire. That's 100% what's happening.
Yeah, he will milk it as long as he can. And luckily he's got Dana as number one fan who will allow him to do it.
I love those memes. Him just glazing. I think we've talked about it before.
Did you see, I think at the Sphere, one of the fans just on the, while Dana walks through the aisle, one of the fans was like, "Who's the pound for pound GOAT?" and he like walks away, pretends he's not going to answer it. So the guy
he comes back.
He's like, "John Jones."
I saw that. I just love like how like the meme of him like oil me up meme on Instagram Live, and then he's just like, "Stop fucking doing the oil me up," and then someone writes, "Are you gonna oil Sean Jones up?"
Yeah. So the John Jones Dana White memes are in full effect.
The fucking the card. I think we talked about it. But the card, like he's pulling the fucking John Jones card out of a pack. Yeah. He's like, "Oh my god, yes."
Yeah, John Jones. Oh god, you better beat Stipe, mate. My god.
Yeah, probably. It's weird though because he's really not a good guy. And
John Jones.
Yeah,
he was a terrible guy.
Danish, love this guy.
Pound for pound guy. And there was a full half an hour session where the media members, for the first time I think I've ever seen, they debated Dana White and didn't just yes man him for every question. They were like, but inactivity, he's fought once in 4 years. And Dana's like, well, he fought once, but he was booked to fight again. He got injured. That's out of his control. And now he's booked to fight again. So he's active.
Yeah. Guarantee you, if it was Bilal or something, if he was in, sorry, Dana, I can't fight. No, you can't, mate. Get out of it. But no, John Jones or Conor McGregor can get injured 30 times and they'll still be able to fight for a title. So
yes. And speaking of the Conor McGregor, looks like he's not going to be fighting Chandler.
No.
So Michael Chandler has officially gone bankrupt, and he is
Is he fighting Oliveira?
Oliveira.
Yeah. He's going to get swamped, honestly.
He somehow got himself a number one contender fight. Apparently this is a number one contender fight. Hasn't fought in 3 years. Has a losing record in the UFC, but he's got himself a number one contender
This is an
fight.
all-time Dana feels bad for the guy. I'm going to give him a number one contender.
Yeah, so... Yeah, he's going to get smashed anyway.
He's going to get absolutely destroyed. Like, Oliveira is a bit inconsistent nowadays, but still.
The only thing is Oliveira is a bit chinny, and if Chandler catches him, that's a possibility. But if he doesn't, he's going to get destroyed.
I just hope that Chandler wins the title or something, and then Conor McGregor fights. And he calls out Conor McGregor after he wins the belt.
Conor McGregor.
Oh God! And then it's just all over again. It's just happening all over.
Yeah.
He just waits 3 years for Conor again. He's 50 years old. Honestly, the only fight that Conor McGregor can do now is Tony Ferguson. That's it.
No. You don't want to see that because
Chicken
what
McNuggets,
if he loses to
get him.
Tony Ferguson?
No, but it's the only fight that he can win. He's losing every other fight. The guy's in fucking... Have you seen him at the Anthony Joshua?
Yeah.
He was fucking off his head. Just doing who knows what. Betting all of his money. He is so retired, it's not even funny.
Yeah. But he's gonna fight next year, so
yeah.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah.
Sure anyway, we can touch on the boxing as well. AJ versus Dubois. Never heard of Dubois before this in my life. That shows you how boxing's going. But he's flatline KO'd Anthony Joshua. So
that guy is so washed, honestly.
Well, he just knocked out Ngannou, but
yeah, but that's because Ngannou looked good against Tyson Fury, who
got
off the couch, and did not think
Ngannou
would do anything.
Almost beat Fury, and Joshua beat Ngannou, and Dubois beat Joshua. So he's the heavyweight GOAT.
No, Tyson Fury on form with a couple of fights is better than anyone. Now he lost to Usyk, but again, off the couch.
To me, this sort of signifies the end. I don't know if Fury and Usyk are going to run it back, but Usyk's going to win if they fight again. But it signifies the end of this. I don't want to use the R word, but that sort of word to describe this era of heavyweight boxing, in which 0 fights got made over this decade-long...
Oh, I think it's longer than that, mate.
Whatever it has. Joshua, Fury, and Wilder, they both need to go and hang... They all need to go hang their heads in shame at the embarrassment of how they've conducted their careers.
Yeah, well, it's the problem with boxing. It has been for decades. I mean, it happened with Manny Pacquiao and fucking Floyd Mayweather. It happened. When you have... And it's just such a shame because it's the heavyweights. For the first time in years and years and years, you have finally the heavyweight division, the best division in boxing, the most exciting division in boxing. You have elite fighters in Fury, Joshua, Wilder, and obviously Usyk coming in later on. You have all these elite fighters, and yet they fight Wilder fights Fury.
Let's fight Derek Chisora 3 times.
Yeah. Joshua fights nobody and then fights Usyk and loses. It was such a shame that these fighters have just wasted their legacy. I mean, obviously you hear about boxing back in the day when Ali fought everyone and Tyson fought the toughest, but it just isn't that anymore. It's because it's driven by promoters and it's driven by money, and essentially it's not worth it for them to fight the big guys anymore. And look, it could be for a one-off, but for them, it's just everyone. There's so much ego in it. It's crazy. Not only the fighters have the ego, the promoters do. The promoters are celebrities themselves. And everyone's trying to get the best. It reminds me of if anyone plays fantasy football. Everyone's trying to, when you're doing a trade, everyone's trying to get the better end of the trade. Everyone's trying to shaft everyone else. So there's no fucking point in doing anything because you're just going to either get shafted or try to shaft someone else. It's the same with boxing. Boxing is just trying to get the better deal. Joshua, Fury, Wilder, Usyk maybe a bit less because he actually, I think, genuinely wanted to fight everyone. But especially Fury and Joshua just wanted to get the fucking better deal out of anyone. And in reality, only maybe Fury deserved it in his prime a couple of years ago. But Joshua, I mean, he could have demanded after Klitschko, but apart from that, after he lost to Ruiz, he did not deserve to be the A side on anything. So you lose to that fucking guy. I mean, Jesus, talk about throwing it away. Joshua knows how to do that. So, it's just a disappointment. And it is the problem with boxing. It's not regulated enough to sort of enforce. Now we talk about the UFC, John Jones not fighting for fucking 3 years, but 99% of the time, their fights do get made.
Yeah.
But it feels like in boxing, it just never happens.
Yeah, and it's because they're all under different promoters, so there's no way. And every fight is a singular deal that takes months to negotiate and
set up. There's no... Yeah, and all they can hope for is a fucking sequel. Like, that's the main thing. So it's just... Yeah, it's the problem with boxing. And
yeah, it's a corrupt sport. It's unfortunate. Obviously, they're all loving it in Saudi right now, funding it, but we'll see. I think, speaking of that, Ngannou, I believe, has his PFL debut coming up.
Wow.
I don't know if you've seen the guy he's fighting.
No.
He makes Ngannou look like a little child.
Really?
Yeah. He is huge.
They get the fucking tall Dutchy guy out of retirement, did they?
Struve. He's like Struve's height, but jacked.
So they just got
He's literally Goliath.
They got like Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, and he can do like a standing backflip.
Probably can't fight, but just did it just for the vibes.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how that goes.
Anyway, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, before we finish, we got to touch on F1. I don't know if you saw the race last night.
I didn't see the race last night. No,
but basically, the F1. If you haven't been paying attention, the first 6 weeks of the year was probably the worst start to an F1 season ever in terms of entertainment value.
Yeah,
but
I think we gave up even talking about it after the first 6 weeks.
Red Bull's collapse has turned it into a really good season all of a sudden. Lando Norris is on the fight back. McLaren are now leading the Constructors' Championship due to Sergio Perez being a negative on the track.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What happened? Where was it?
It was in Singapore. Lando Norris won the race by about 30 seconds. Verstappen came second, Piastri third. There's a lot of subplots going on right now through the season. I don't know if we want to dive into all those, but essentially the main thing of this race revolves around our man, Danny Rick. Where there's some sort of clause in his contract where after this race, a lot of people are saying he's going to be out of the car and they're going to bring Liam Lawson in. So it was a lot of, this could be Danny Rick's last race in Formula One type of stuff going on. And then he pitted on the last lap, got to get the fastest lap. He finished 18th, so he didn't get a point for it.
Yeah.
But he took a point off Lando to help Max in the championship. And it was very emotional. Max was on the radio like, "Oh, thank you, Daniel." And everyone was like, my feed this whole day has been like emotional fucking edits of Max and Daniel being best friends and Daniel retiring.
God.
And
Jesus
it's
Christ.
But did you see his interview? He was emotional.
I did actually, but I just clicked off it.
It was fucking sad. He was literally on the verge of tears talking about how he might be done. And it's sad to see.
Give him the Red Bull seat, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and I've been probably the most delusional Danny Rick fan on this show, saying how he deserves certain things when he's been pretty bad for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, you don't say.
But it is just sad when Sergio Perez is unfortunately backed by a Mexican billionaire, and that allows him to stay in this seat where he finished 10th in this race and had no issues, no structural damage to the car. On pure performance, finished 10th.
Well, the Red Bull isn't what it was.
Well, Verstappen's finished second.
I know, but like even the race before, I watched the race before, and I mean, Piastri looked pretty damn good. And Verstappen really wasn't in it. I mean, I know he's obviously a lot of people are catching up, but McLaren look by far and away the best car right now, and they look like the best team. Even though they've had some sort of team issues recently. It's quite interesting. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I completely clocked off. I was asleep at the wheel, no pun intended, and I just couldn't watch anymore after the first 6 weeks. I just couldn't. I'm not going to watch this shit when Verstappen wins every race and Perez fucks it up somehow. And then it's so boring, and it's so... Every race is the same. And then, a creepy, couple of wins from, some other players and other drivers.
I think everyone out of the top 4 teams has won a race, except obviously the bum Perez. But
Yeah, it's criminal that he's still in the fucking Red Bull seat. But no, I think it's good that McLaren winning a constructors would be crazy. I mean, everyone was fucking hating on Zach. Was his name Zach?
Zach Brown.
Zach Brown. Like a couple of years ago, how he's put McLaren in the dirt. Turns out he probably turned them around from what they once were. And yeah, they look really good. I mean, obviously you don't like Oscar Piastri.
I'm starting to come around.
You start now that he's winning.
He's like the new Kimi Räikkönen.
I think he's a lot nicer than Kimi Räikkönen.
No, but he's very matter of fact, and his comedy's very deadpan. Like he says things like he just made a comment the other day where it's like, oh yeah, Formula One, some drivers deserve to be here, and with Lance Stroll sitting right next to him, he was like, some drivers don't.
Yeah.
And he says a lot of deadpan things that are quite funny.
But now, do you understand McLaren choosing Piastri over Danny Rick now? Have you forgiven him for that decision?
Yes.
Do you think it was the right decision?
Probably, yes. And also, how good was his decision to fuck off Alpine?
Yeah, everyone was like,
they
what
announced him as like the next driver of their car, and he was like, hell no.
Everyone was like, I don't know why you'd make such a sideways move like that. I mean, McLaren isn't that much better than Alpine. I mean, fucking, what did we know? Jesus Christ. But yeah, it looks like Red Bull have kind of fallen into the pack again. I don't know what's happened. Maybe because Adrian knew he's leaving and he's just fucking like put his tools down. I don't know. I mean, what's going on?
I don't know, but it's good. I mean, you got to love it.
Yeah, that's what you want.
And did you see Verstappen he's been given like community service as a punishment for swearing, essentially?
Yeah, that's so stupid, honestly.
Yeah. And now he doesn't answer any of the questions in the
I mean, who adjudicates that? Who fucking says?
Just the FIA.
Oh, them and their infinite wisdom, do they? Fucking robbed Hamilton of a driver's championship, and then all of a sudden they think they can adjudicate people on swearing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's right. Like, everybody swears, obviously, and especially in sport. Everyone. Imagine if they had a high pressure. Imagine if they had a mic out on a football pitch.
They did.
Or in the NRL.
Yeah. Yeah, someone got suspended 9 weeks. But no, I think...
Yes, but, you know what I mean.
No, I think, 100%, I think swearing is a part of rugby league. I think, it's 100% a part of...
It's part of life. Everyone above the age of 12 swears, and you're delusional if you think they don't.
In high-level sport, it's so high-pressurized. You're under so much stress. You need those swear words to...
They're like good adjectives. I mean,
I don't know why this is like the thought train that we're on, but 100%. I mean, I've been playing fucking social teams in school and sworn. I mean, I swear all the time when I'm in high pressure situations. When my fantasy team is screwing me over, I have some not so kind words to say about some certain individuals.
Yeah,
and I'm talking to you, Josh Jacobs. You can stick where the sun don't shine. As they
Josh
say.
Jacobs, exactly. At least, do you have Caleb? What's his name?
Williams.
Caleb Williams. You don't have him, right?
No, he's
stinking it up.
Yeah, he's stinking it up. Fucking God, just great. CeeDee Lamb, my number 2 pick, fucking got 8 points today.
CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Well, that name sounds a bit sus. So.
See, I'm a big name guy. So I've got a CeeDee Lamb, a Drake London.
Drake London.
That's a guy. That's a real person. That is a real person. Malik Neighbours.
How do they come up with these
Cameron
names?
Dicker. Dicker the kicker. He's a kicker. So
Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker. He is.
Surely you don't get much points for a kicker. You're only on the field 5 seconds.
No, they actually get decent points, but he didn't. He got 4 points this week. I got Alvin, a guy called Alvin Kamara. I got a guy called Dobbins. So Dobby.
Quincy Dobbins.
No, JK. His name is actually JK.
JK Dobbins.
JK Dobbins.
Wow, these are some real names.
I've got a Lad McConkey.
What the fuck? The NFL is just home of fairy tales.
It honestly is. I played against a guy that had Devon Achan.
Right.
DK Metcalf.
But he's a good player, I know him.
Yeah. Tank Dell.
He can dunk.
Tank Dell is a real person.
Tank Dell.
Brenton Strange. That's a real name. I mean, Wandale Robinson.
I don't know any of these players, so your team must suck.
No, this is the other team that I'm talking about that I'm playing. But no, my team's actually scored 190 points last week. Scored 118 this week. I'm 1-2 probably. I don't know how that happened. I have an unreal team, but they all seem to want to play well on the same week and then all play shit on the next week. I don't know what the fuck. Can you mix it up, please? Can some of you play shit and some of you play well? Can I just have a bit of consistency with my team? No.
I don't know. That seems like a lot to ask.
I feel like they're either going to score 200 points or going to score 80. And it's just... And I'm going to be 8-9 and miss the playoffs. It's just...
You're going to miss the playoffs, bro. Fuck. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing, but look.
That's tough.
Anyway, thanks for listening,
playoffs.
everyone. Hope you enjoyed. Leave your comments on some of the thoughts that we've had today, especially surrounding some of the F1 chat around the UFC chat. If you agree with the Mexican heritage thing was not done well. Maybe
nothing to do with Mexican heritage.
Yeah, just I love Mexican people. I swear I love Mexican people.
I love tacos.
Big taco guy. So yeah, please don't sue me. Anyway, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, see you later.
Peace out.